Welcome back to Human Body Systems. Today we will be learning about the respiratory system. We will also be taking notes as I move through this PowerPoint. The respiratory system's main function is to bring needed oxygen into the body and release carbon dioxide out of the body that the body does not need. Now we will make an entry into our student science notebook. Please turn to the next clean page. Remember, at any time during this video, if you feel like you need more time, just push pause on the video and you can resume the video when you are ready to move on. Your first entry should say, the respiratory system's main job is to bring oxygen into the body and release carbon dioxide out of the body. Again, press pause if you need extra time. There are different structures and parts of the respiratory system. We will be learning about the mouth, the nasal cavity, larynx, pharynx, trachea, bronchi, bronchioles, alveoli, lungs, and the diaphragm. You will make another entry into your science notebook with the different structures of the respiratory system. Just a reminder, push pause if you need extra time. The processes of respiration include two parts. The first part is external respiration. The second part is internal respiration. We will make an entry into our notebook about the two types of respiration. External respiration is what you know as breathing. External respiration involves both bringing air into the lungs, which is called inhaling, and releasing air out of the lungs into the atmosphere, exhaling. For your entry for external respiration, write down breathing. External respiration equals bringing air into the lungs, that's inhale, and releasing air out of the lungs, that's exhale. Internal respiration, when oxygen and carbon dioxide are exchanged between the cells and blood vessels in the body. For your entry for internal respiration, please write down that oxygen and carbon dioxide are exchanged between the cells and blood vessels in the body. Again, please press pause if you need extra time for this entry, and then you can press play when you're ready to move on. So how do I breathe? Well, first the air enters the nose and mouth. Hairs in the nose trap dust, pollen, and dirt. If you look to the right-hand side of this PowerPoint, you will see that there is a yellow star. The yellow star is pointing to the nose and also to the mouth. This is where air enters the respiratory tract and also leaves the respiratory tract. For your entry, please put first at the top and air enters the nose and mouth. Second, air will move to the larynx. This is where your vocal cords are located. On the right-hand side of the screen, there is a yellow star that is pointing to the area of where the larynx is located. You will now make your second entry. Put second at the top and air moves to the larynx. The third step is that the air will then move to the trachea. The trachea is located right at the neckline and it goes lower into your chest. If you look on the right hand side of the screen, there's a yellow star that is pointing to the trachea. The trachea is also known as your windpipe. So for your entry in your science notebook, place third at the top and write down that the air will then move to the trachea. The fourth step is where the air will then move into the bronchi. If we look at this image on the screen, the bronchi actually look like branches on trees. On the right-hand side of this screen, you'll see yellow arrows that are pointing to the bronchi. There are bronchi on the left-hand side and the right-hand side. You will make another entry. 4th, the air moves to the bronchi. Past the bronchi are the bronchioles. That's our 5th step. Past the bronchioles are the alveoli. So again, we have our trachea here that is also known as our windpipe, and it breaks off into 2 branches, the bronchi, one on the right side and one on the left side. And then these tree branches that come off, they even look like limbs and sticks. Those are the bronchioles. And then at the very end of the bronchioles, there's going to be these tiny little circle air sacs, and those are called alveoli. On the right-hand side of the screen, I've put some stars where the alveoli would be located at. For your entry, you need to write 5th and write down after the bronchi are the bronchioles and then the alveoli. So what are the alveoli and what do they do? Alveoli are tiny sacs where oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange takes place in the lungs. It is like a pickup and drop off, almost like a train station. So the deoxygenated blood drops off the carbon dioxide, and those blood cells then pick up new oxygen so that the heart can pump the oxygen throughout your body. On the right-hand side in this picture, I have circled in yellow the alveoli that are in the lungs. Again, they're at the end of the bronchioles. Again, this is where the gas exchange takes place in our lungs. So for your entry in your ISN, you will write the vocabulary word alveoli down, and you will say that it equals the tiny air sacs at the end of the bronchioles, and it also equals gas exchange occurs here. Again, if you need extra time, please pause the video and you can press play when you are ready to begin. So how do I breathe in? As air enters your lungs, the diaphragm muscle under your lungs moves down and contracts. So again, when you breathe in air, your diaphragm muscle will move downwards, and that allows extra space in your lungs, in your chest cavity, to hold extra air. Your entry in your ISN should say, when air enters your lungs, your diaphragm muscles move down, they contract. So how do I breathe out? As air rushes out of your lungs, the diaphragm muscle under your lungs moves up, it relaxes. So looking at our picture over here on the right-hand side that has yellow stars around it, as you are exhaling, you are releasing that carbon dioxide out of your mouth. That diaphragm muscle, that is the biggest muscle in your upper torso, and it is pushing all of that carbon dioxide, pushing all of that air out of your mouth and nose. That is when your diaphragm is relaxing. It moves back up. So for your entry for your notebook, please write down, when air leaves your lungs, your diaphragm muscles move up. They are relaxing. We learned in the muscular system that muscles relax and contract, and we see that here now with the diaphragm. That's the large muscle that aids in respiration. So now, how does the respiratory system work with the other body systems? Well, with oxygen exchange, the circulatory system brings carbon dioxide back to the lungs to exchange it for new oxygen. This is at the alveoli, those tiny air sacs that we talked about that are in the lungs. When we talk about your nose, well, your nose is used to bring in air in the respiratory system, and the nose works in the nervous system to sense smells. In regards to your mouth and pharynx, in the digestive system, the mouth and pharynx are used to swallow food. In the respiratory system, the mouth and pharynx, they are both, they help with breathing. For your notes entry, you are going to write down circulatory and respiratory systems work together for gas exchange. The nose in the nervous system equals smells, and the respiratory equals brings in air. The mouth in the digestive system equals swallows food. In the respiratory, it equals breathing. Again, press pause if you need extra time to make this entry into your notebook. At this time, we're actually going to watch a video that is going to show us the difference between the trachea, which is known as your windpipe, and also your esophagus. And that's actually where food, that's the tube where food moves down into your stomach. They are side by side. Watch the video and you will see what happens if food were to go down the wrong pipe. All right, so at this time, I have a diagram of the respiratory system, and we have A, B, C, D, E, F, and we are going to label the different structures of the respiratory system. What we have here is we see that A is the larynx. B is the trachea, that's the windpipe. C is the right lung lobe, so this is the right side of the body of this patient, and that is their lungs. D is pointing to the bronchi. Those are the two branches that break off from the trachea. E is pointing to the bronchioles. These are the branches that break off of the bronchi. They're smaller. They look like the branches on trees and the limbs on trees. And F is pointing to that large muscle that is below your lungs that helps aid with respiration. It helps bring air into the lungs and it helps push air out of the lungs. In your notebook, you are going to label the respiratory system. Again, please stop the video if you need time to correctly label your diagram. At this time, we will watch a video on how do the lungs work. This video is located in Canvas in your module for 1017. Have a great day. That is the conclusion of our notes for the respiratory system.